Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story School. Have you ever looked at someone successful and wondered, what do they have that I don't? Or maybe you've caught yourself thinking, I could never do that. Maybe, right now, you're standing at the crossroads of your life, unsure of which path to take. You know deep inside that you have dreams, but somehow they seem just out of reach. Does that sound familiar? Part 1. The hook. What's holding you back? Let me ask you something. What's holding you back? I mean, really, what's stopping you from becoming the person you were always meant to be? Is it fear? Doubt? Or maybe it's the overwhelming feeling that success is for someone else, not for you. Now, let's pause for a second and take a deeper look at this. What if I told you that you already have everything you need to succeed? What if I told you that the power to change your life, to transform yourself into the best version of you, lies within your own hands? The knowledge is within you. The ability is within you. The strength, the creativity, and the drive are all within you. All it takes is a small shift in perspective, a slight adjustment in how you see yourself and the world around you. Let me tell you the story of James. He was just like you, full of potential, full of dreams, but filled with doubts. And when you looked at him, you would have thought he had everything. He had the ideas, the drive, the passion, but there was one thing missing: belief. James didn't believe in himself. Not enough to take action, not enough to take that first step. Picture this. James stands in front of his bathroom mirror every morning, looking at his own reflection, asking himself the same question: am I good enough? Every time, he saw only his flaws, his imperfections, the reasons why he wasn't worthy of success. He saw his fear, his insecurities, and a long list of things that could go wrong. He didn't think he was capable of the greatness he dreamed about. Instead of seeing a strong, powerful individual, he saw someone trapped by their own self-doubt. Every single day, James carried a suitcase filled with fear, anxiety, and uncertainty, unsure of whether he had the strength to break free. He spent years stuck in the cycle of mediocrity, never fully stepping into his potential. And why? Because he didn't see his own worth. He didn't realize that within him was the very thing he needed to make his dreams a reality. But then one morning, something changed. Something small. Something profound. James woke up, stared at his reflection in the mirror, and thought, what if I have the power to change everything? It was a simple thought, yet it held the power to unlock a completely different reality for him. And in that moment, James realized he didn't need to wait for permission. He didn't need to wait for the perfect moment, for the perfect circumstances, for things to be just right. He didn't need to ask anyone if he was good enough. He already had everything he needed to succeed. The only thing standing between him and his dreams was the belief that he was worthy of them. Think about it. Right now, in this very moment, you have everything you need to succeed too. It's inside you. It's been inside you all along. It's the spark of creativity, the drive, the ambition, and most importantly, the choice to believe in yourself. All that's required is the decision to step into your greatness. James' life changed the moment he decided to shift his mindset. He realized that all the doubts, all the fears were just illusions. They were distractions. They were keeping him from seeing the truth. He was capable of so much more. And just like that, he took his first step into his future, knowing that the journey ahead would be filled with both challenges and triumphs. It wasn't an easy road, but it was his road. And as he walked it, he discovered a truth that would stay with him forever. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you choose to take control of your life. And that's exactly what James did. The power to change his life, to build his dreams, wasn't found outside of him. It was found within. So, let me ask you again, what's holding you back? Because the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be is the belief that you have what it takes. You already have everything you need to succeed. What if you, like James, could take that leap of faith and step into your greatness? What if the key to unlocking your future was always within your grasp? It's time to find out. And trust me, once you do, you'll realize just how much power you've been carrying inside you all along. Part 2. The struggle, facing the unknown. James, like so many of us, was paralyzed by the thought of failure. Every time he set out to chase his dreams, there was that voice in his head that whispered, "What if I fall flat on my face?" The fear of failure gripped him. It stopped him from taking that first step. It stopped him from chasing the life he knew he was meant to live. But here's the truth, my friends. Failure is not the end. It's merely a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey. Think about the most successful people in the world. They've all faced failure at some point in their lives, but they didn't let it define them. Thomas Edison? He failed over 1,000 times before he finally invented the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey? She was told she was unfit for television by a network executive, but look at her now. She's one of the most influential media moguls in history. Every successful person has faced the same fear of failure, but they didn't let it control their destiny. James, however, didn't see it this way. He saw failure as a wall he couldn't climb, as a barrier that would stop him from achieving his dreams. He thought, what if I fail and everyone laughs at me? What if my dreams crumble in front of my eyes? And so, he played it safe. He avoided risks. He avoided doing the things that scared him the most. And in doing so, he avoided the very thing that would help him grow, his own potential. But here's the catch. When you avoid failure, you're not just avoiding the pain. It's much worse than that. You're also avoiding your greatest opportunities for growth. You're avoiding the person you're meant to become. You're stopping yourself from evolving into the strong, fearless, unstoppable individual you have the power to be. And one day, as James sat in his room, paralyzed by the weight of his fears, something shifted. He looked at his reflection in the window, watching the world outside continue to move forward. He felt a burning desire deep within him, a desire that refused to be ignored any longer. It was then that he realized something profound. He wasn't afraid of failure. He was afraid of not trying at all. This was the moment everything changed for James. This was the turning point where he realized that failure was not his enemy. Fear not trying was. He remembered a quote he had read years ago that echoed in his mind. The greatest fear in life is not failure. It's the fear of not trying. And with those words, everything inside him clicked. What had been holding him back wasn't the fear of failing. It was the fear of never trying at all. So, that day, James made a decision. He was going to take the first step. Even though the fear of failure still tugged at his chest, he chose to face it head on. He knew that by avoiding the unknown, he was only keeping himself trapped in a life he wasn't meant to lead. He knew that in order to break free, he had to take risks, step into the unknown, and embrace the discomfort of the unfamiliar. What if he failed? James didn't know. But one thing was for certain. What if he didn't try at all? The regret of never taking action would haunt him forever. So he chose to leap. And in that first moment of stepping out of his comfort zone, he felt something incredible happen. The fear, though still there, began to lose its grip. His heart pounded, his palms sweated, but for the first time in years, James felt alive. He realized that the unknown wasn't his enemy. It was his teacher. The struggles, the mistakes, the stumbles, they were all part of the process. James understood something now that he had never realized before. The journey to success isn't a straight line. It's a winding road filled with uncertainty and risk. And the only way to succeed is by taking that first bold step into the unknown. Because when you face your fears, when you take risks, you open yourself up to the possibility of greatness. The reality is this: if you never take the leap, you'll never know what's on the other side. James realized that the greatest risk wasn't failure. It was never trying at all. In that day, he chose to step forward into his future, knowing that whatever happened, he would never look back. So let me ask you, what's holding you back? Are you allowing the fear of failure to paralyze you? Are you avoiding the unknown because you're afraid of what might happen? Or are you ready to embrace the discomfort, take that leap, and see where it takes you? Because the greatest thing you can do is try. And once you do, you'll realize that your fears were never as big as you thought. The unknown might be scary, but it's also where your greatest potential lies. The only question that remains is, will you take that first step, or will you continue to let fear control your future? Because just like James, once you face the unknown, there's no turning back, and that's where the magic begins. Part 3, the breakthrough, taking the leap. After that life-changing realization, something extraordinary happened. James, who had once been held back by the heavy chains of self-doubt, made a bold decision. He chose to stop holding himself back. He took a leap of faith, a leap into the unknown. He didn't have all the answers. He didn't know what the future held or what the next step would look like. All he knew was that he could no longer stay where he was. The time for dreaming was over. Now was the time for action. James stepped into the unknown, choosing to trust that the universe would guide him, that somehow things would work out. But let me tell you, taking that leap wasn't as easy as he thought it would be. In fact, it was harder than he could have ever imagined. He felt a surge of excitement. Yes, but along with that excitement came fear. Doubts that crept in the back of his mind, trying to pull him back to safety. The path wasn't smooth. James stumbled. He tripped. He made mistakes, big mistakes. At times, it felt like everything he had worked for was slipping through his fingers. What if he had made the wrong choice? What if he wasn't cut out for this after all? There were days when he wanted to give up, to turn around, and to run back to the comfort of what was familiar. But then, he remembered, the path of least resistance doesn't lead to greatness. It leads to regret. In those moments of hardship, James faced a choice. He could either let these mistakes define him, or he could use them to propel himself forward. So, instead of being crushed by his failures, he turned them into something powerful. He treated each setback as a lesson, each mistake a valuable teaching tool. What can I learn from this? He asked himself, and each time he fell, he picked himself up, dusted himself off, and went again. You see, failure didn't break James. It built him. Every time he rose from the ashes of defeat, he grew stronger. His perseverance became his greatest asset. James realized something crucial, that he was not defined by his failures. He was defined by how he rose after each one. James began to see that it wasn't about avoiding failure. It was about embracing it. It was about understanding that failure was not the end. It was simply a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey to success. He realized that failure was not something to fear. It was something to learn from. Every setback was an opportunity to grow. Every misstep was a chance to become better. The truth is, nobody who has ever achieved greatness has done so without failure. We often look at successful people and think their journey was effortless, that they had some secret formula for success. But the reality is that they failed just as much, if not more, than anyone else. The difference is, they didn't let their failures stop them. They used them to fuel their fire. They kept going, even when it seemed impossible. Think about it for a moment. Thomas Edison failed more than 1,000 times before he succeeded in inventing the light bulb. He didn't see each failure as a defeat. He saw it as a step closer to success. And in that, he found his breakthrough. James began to understand this. He stopped fearing failure. He stopped letting it have power over him. He didn't just accept failure, he embraced it. He knew that the key to his success wasn't in avoiding mistakes, but in learning how to bounce back from them. Each time he faced a setback, he was no longer broken by it. Instead, he felt more determined than ever to push forward. One of the most powerful realizations James had during this time was this: your failures don't define you, but your response to them does. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about being resilient. It's about showing up even when things get tough. It's about continuing to move forward, no matter how many times you stumble. In the process, James found something extraordinary. He found his own strength. He found the courage to keep going when the path seemed impossible. And with every mistake, every failure, and every setback, he built an unshakable belief in himself. This was his breakthrough. It wasn't a moment of grand achievement. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic change in his life. It was a quiet, powerful realization that success didn't come from avoiding failure. It came from facing it, from learning from it, and from refusing to give up. James' breakthrough came from the simple, yet profound, act of persevering. It came from taking each failure, no matter how hard it seemed, and using it to fuel his journey. It was in those difficult moments when he wanted to quit the most that he grew the most. So, let me ask you this. How do you respond when you fail? Do you let failure defeat you? Or do you pick yourself up, learn from it, and use it to push yourself further? Because let me tell you, success is not found in perfection. It's found in resilience. It's found in how you rise after each fall. James' story isn't special. What's special is that he kept going, and so can you. Success isn't for the chosen few. It's for those who choose to rise, no matter how many times they fall. So, take that leap. Embrace failure. Learn from it. And never, ever give up. Because, in the end, it's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. And when you do, you'll find that your breakthrough is just around the corner. Part 4. The transformation. Becoming who you were meant to be. As James continued to push forward on his journey, something extraordinary began to happen. For the first time in his life, he could see the tangible results of his efforts. The world that once felt out of reach, that seemed to belong to others but not to him, was now starting to shift in his favor. The dreams he once only dared to whisper to himself were no longer fantasies. They were becoming his reality. At first, the changes were subtle. James wasn't just waking up. He was waking up with a renewed sense of purpose. He noticed the small victories, the way people began to recognize his dedication, the small milestones that once seemed distant, now inching closer every day. And then, one day, it hit him. The impossible had become possible. James went from feeling plagued by doubt to feeling empowered by certainty. The man who once stared at himself in the mirror, questioning his worth, was now looking at a reflection of confidence. He was no longer stuck. He was unstoppable. And guess what? You have that same power inside you. It's true. The only difference between James and anyone else is that he made the choice. He chose to step into his own greatness. He chose to believe in himself when the world told him he couldn't. And once he made that choice, everything changed. Just like him, you have the same ability to transform your life, to take charge, and to make your dreams a reality. The key to success is not waiting for the perfect moment or for someone to hand it to you. Success is not something that happens to you. It's something you create for yourself. You hold the pen to your own story. You write the narrative of your life. The direction you take is up to you. And the way your story ends? That's completely in your hands. James' life didn't change by accident. It didn't change because of luck or because he found a secret formula. His life changed because he realized one fundamental truth. He was in control. He took full ownership of his destiny. When James made the conscious decision to believe in himself, when he stopped letting fear dictate his actions, he unlocked a new level of potential. Think about that for a second. How would your life change if you truly believed that you were the creator of your own reality? What if you saw challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow? What if you understood that the only thing stopping you from achieving greatness is your own mindset? When you realize that you are the one in control, that's when everything shifts. James realized that his only limits were the ones he placed on himself. He wasn't bound by external circumstances. He was bound only by his imagination and his level of commitment. The moment he let go of self-imposed limitations, his world began to open up. No longer did he see the world through the lens of impossibility. Instead, he saw it as a canvas, waiting for him to paint his masterpiece. It's the same for you. The only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. Your potential is limitless, but it requires a commitment to push past your doubts, to embrace uncertainty, and to keep going when the path seems unclear. Because when you believe in yourself, and when you take ownership of your journey, you open up doors that you never even knew existed. And you know what? James wasn't special. What made him different wasn't some innate trait that set him apart from everyone else. What made James different was his unwavering belief in himself, his ability to keep going when the world seemed to tell him no, and his refusal to settle for anything less than the life he knew he deserved. And that's where his transformation happened. Not when things were easy, but when he decided that he was worthy of everything he desired. You don't need to wait for permission to step into your greatness. You don't need to wait for a sign or a perfect moment. The moment is now. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can have it. Once you make that shift, once you realize that you are the creator of your own reality, you will begin to see the impossible turn into the possible. James' breakthrough wasn't just about achieving his dreams. It was about stepping into the version of himself that had always been inside. The true transformation didn't come when he reached his goals. It came when he realized that his power was never in his circumstances. It was in his mindset, his belief, and his willingness to take action. And so, just like that, James transformed. From doubt to confidence, from fear to courage, from a life of mediocrity to one of greatness. He became the man he was always meant to be, simply by believing that he was capable of it. And now, he stands tall, knowing that every single one of us has that same power. So ask yourself, are you ready to transform? Are you ready to step into the version of yourself that you were always meant to be? Because just like James, once you make the choice to believe in yourself, to own your destiny, your transformation begins. You have everything you need to succeed, and it all starts with you. Part 5, the legacy. You can do this. James' journey didn't stop once he reached his goals. Far from it. In fact, it was just the beginning. Now, James isn't just living his dream. He's helping others do the same. He's become a mentor, a guide, a beacon of light for those still wandering in the darkness of doubt. He's showing others that they, too, have everything inside them to succeed. They, too, have the power to break free from their fears, to step into their potential, and to create a life filled with purpose. But here's the thing, you can do the same. Just like James, you have everything you need within you. The power, the drive, the courage, it's all there, waiting for you to tap into it. It always has been. You are never lacking in potential. It's just a matter of realizing that the journey to success isn't about achieving goals. It's about growing, evolving, and transforming into the person you were always meant to be. James' story is proof that you're not meant to live in the shadows of your fears. You're not meant to play small. You are the hero of your own story, and the world is waiting for you to step into your greatness. No one else can live your life for you. No one else can take the steps you need to take, make the choices you need to make, or overcome the challenges that only you are capable of facing. So, ask yourself, why wait? Why continue to hold back when you know deep down that you have what it takes? Why settle for anything less than your true potential? You have everything you need to succeed. The tools, the wisdom, the strength, it's all within you. The only thing you need to do now is take that first step. You've been holding yourself back long enough. You've been waiting for the right time, for the stars to align, for the perfect opportunity to come knocking. But guess what? There is no perfect time. There is no right moment. The only moment that matters is right now. You're already equipped. You already have what you need. The time to take action is now. And as you take that step, remember this. The road ahead won't always be smooth. There will be challenges, there will be setbacks, and there will be times when you feel like giving up. But remember, every challenge is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity for growth. And every moment you push through is a step closer to becoming the person you're meant to be. James' story didn't end with him reaching his goals. It evolved into something greater. It became a story of legacy, of empowering others, of passing the torch, of helping others find the strength and courage to step into their own greatness. And that's the power of transformation. When you change, when you grow, when you step into your full potential, you create a ripple effect that touches everyone around you. This is your legacy waiting to be written, and it begins with you. You are the author of your own story. You decide how it unfolds. You decide the impact you want to make. And trust me when I say, you can do this. You can change your life. You can achieve your dreams. And just like James, you can help others do the same. So what are you waiting for? The time to begin is now. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back any longer. Take that first step and don't look back. The world is waiting for the legacy you're about to create. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.